and it printed just
All right,
like that.
we're gonna need a wrangler. So we'll run this like we do, like a normal press conference or NCAA press conference, actually, with coach with an opening statement. And then we'll take questions for the two players, and then we'll go into the meeting with the coach reports. Coach, I think we're ready.
Well, first of all, we're blessed and very fortunate. My hat's off to our players for a job well done. And Selection Sunday to me is one of the greatest days of the year. I still remember as a kid writing all the names down and before computers, and there's a sense of anxiety to hear your name called, and it's a day that personally I never take for granted, and I hope none of our players do. We're one of two teams in the last 3 years to be in the field of 64. Iowa's being the other in this league. Michigan State was in the play-in game and got beat in one of the 68, but we're one of two. That's pretty hard to do. And so I hope we don't ever take this for granted. I know I don't, and I can't tell you how excited I am for our players. Don't know a lot about Arkansas. No, Muss does a terrific job. We saw them briefly a year ago at an event in Kansas City, but a very different team. So we'll dive into them. Arguably, when you're in the 8-9, 7, 8, 9, 10, you see a lot of the power conference teams there that just beat up on each other. The Big Ten's the best league in the country, in my opinion. It has been for some time. I feel like that playing in this conference definitely helps prepare you for the postseason. I thought that our non-conference schedule with Virginia, Texas, and UCLA gave us a good sampling of what was outside the Big Ten. So it's nice to have our team back. People forget we played 2 games without Terrence late in the year, and we played 2 games without our starting point guard. And so it's nice to have go into this thing healthy, but you got to play very hard. It's a 1 game or go home, and you've got to play extremely against an extremely good opponent, and you've got to be at your best and on that day. And so we'll work towards that here the next couple days. But the most important thing is to be grateful and very appreciative of the opportunity that's presented. I am going to mention, because I think they had a hell of a year. I thought Rutgers should have been in. I don't know what all went into that, but that would have given us 9. And you project out ahead, and you got USC and UCLA both in as well. So shows what's coming for the Big Ten Conference in the future. But my thoughts are off to Pike and his group, because they had a great year, and don't know what was behind that. So, but looking forward to Thursday.
Okay, questions for the
Coleman, just what was your reaction watching this for a third time and getting in? And what did you learn last year about playing in these big games?
Yeah, at first I was just kind of upset we weren't in Sacramento. I wish we were in Sacramento, but I mean, I was just happy to see our name.
That's
up
a really
there.
selfish thing to say. I mean, you want to be in Sacramento, and our fans are can travel to Des Moines.
Sorry, but it's been a while. I haven't
you.
been home in a couple months, so. But yeah, I was just happy to see us up there. I know the guys were super excited. We've had some guys a part of this thing, and some guys who have no clue, what's next, what's coming. So I was super excited to see our name up there, and I just learned that everything counts. Down to every minute detail. Anything can matter. And it's always just it's a different outcome than everyone always expects. There's so many different outcomes. And yeah, you just got to go out, play hard, play as hard as you can, and just be the best version of yourself that night, and just focus on that game and not get ahead of yourselves. And yeah, so I'm excited.
Terrence, both of you guys actually have some NCAA tournament experience, but you have a lot of guys on your team who do not have NCAA tournament experience. How do you help them through that, this week of preparation and the games when they come?
Me or Coleman?
Either one, you can start.
Just honestly, just treating it like another game, so they don't have no pressure. We all worked so hard in the summer and so hard to get to this position and put ourselves in this position. It's where we just go out and play our game. But like Coleman said, every detail matters. So just following the game plan and just listening like we've been doing all season. We don't want to make it too complicated for ourselves just because it's March Madness. It just means more because if you lose, you actually go home for good.
Yeah, to add on to that, yeah, I mean, like I said, just going out and focusing on the game that you're playing in, not getting ahead of yourself, and playing as hard as you can. I think sometimes during the season you kind of get stuck going through the motions, but you can't do that. When you're here now, it's everything matters. So just getting the message across that we got to go as hard as we can every day, and not take the opportunity for granted. Just go out and want to win. Really have the desire to just want to go win it all. So.
Andy?
Just for both of you guys, how do you feel like you guys have responded in the last couple of days after the Big Ten tournament, kind of how the season's kind of ended?
I feel like we responded well. We had the last couple of days been pretty good for us. People have been getting back in the gym. Just waiting for today to see who we played against. But I feel like we responded well. Like Coach said, he felt like we played good enough to win against Penn State, and the guys that hasn't been in the NCAA tournament before, they know how it feels to get sent home now, and we want to prevent that going into Thursday.
Yeah, I think kind of just learning from the tournament. I think we haven't really had like a true response as far as I think it's really we kind of just let our emotions get to us, because obviously we were all upset, and then but we knew that we had another shot. So kind of just staying not too high, not too low, just preparing for and waiting to see who we play. So I think it's been good for us to kind of just not really chill, but kind of get in the gym a little bit, kind of just touch up on things. And yeah, just kind of preparing for this first round here in the tournament. So.
Yeah, for Terrence, what's kind of the overall attitude of the team heading into the postseason? Does the team feel like you still have something to prove and want to make a long run in the tournament?
Yes, I feel like we got a lot to prove. Even when we got our name called, I think Jay Wright said he had Arkansas over us. So there's just already a chip that we got on our shoulder, just proving people that we belong here.
Scott here in front.
Oh, sorry.
I guess for both of you, I mean, with the idea of maybe teams wanting to be at their best at this time of year, what's that look like for you guys? What do you think you do that's Illinois basketball at its best?
Yeah, I think sharing the ball and getting open shots and making those shots when it's your time to step up there and shoot it. I think a lot of times shot selection is a big thing for us as well. Like I said, just getting the perfect shot, because possessions are gonna matter a whole bunch here in this tournament, and defending well. Flying around, playing extremely hard on defense. We had a top 15 defense during Big Ten play, and I think we were playing really well then. And yeah, just playing together, I think, is a big part of when we're at our best, and everybody connected. I think when we're connected, we're one of the best teams in the country. So Yeah.
Anything else for the players? All right. Thanks, man.
Can I keep this?
Yes.
Oh, Purdue's been in. Sorry, I was wrong. Purdue's been in as well.
All right, Coach, questions for Coach Underwood?
Someone want to start us off?
Brad, you coming off a maybe not a loss that our team against Penn State, you lose, but you said you were playing your best basketball before that against Purdue. How do you feel going into this?
So
now?
you guys have to get over it's the name Penn State. They probably have 3 pros. I mean, they're really good, and I've said all along, and they're very, very old. We played well enough to win. Even when they were scoring, Dane missed a 2-footer. We missed the front end of a 1-on-1. Matt missed the front end of a 1-on-1. We had a turnover, and we got really good shots. We got fouled, and even though they scored, we made a mistake, one mistake on a support. Ty did, and we're right there. And then we had an unfortunate flagrant foul call. We played really good against a really good basketball team, and everybody says, "Well, it's just Penn State." No, it's not Penn State. That team's really good. And those guys proved it again today. I mean, they picked up 3 quad 1 wins in 48 hours basically, or 72 hours. So I think we're playing really good, and we played without Jaden. We lost a 10-point game score, and so again, I think we found a little balance with inside outside, and we took what they gave us, and. Again, we just missed a couple opportunities, and I thought Dane was tremendous defensively, which was very good to see. He missed a few bunnies early in the game, which changed that game, which he normally makes. But again, I feel pretty good. I really do.
How is Jaden? How do you respond to those minutes? What's just the process of kind of getting him back
Conditioning. Yeah, he came back. He did a double workout yesterday. He went through a double workout today. So it's just about getting the ball back. It was really unfair. We wanted to play him. We wanted to throw him out there just so we got the adrenaline again and felt that. But he hadn't done anything prior to that game except a little bit walkthrough. So it's good to get him back.
About a couple of years ago, you told us you thought your team was tight going into the NCAA tournament. Last year, you tried to get a little different vibe. How do you feel like the attitude is going into this year? What do you tell them going into that?
Yeah, have fun. You gotta have fun in this. You gotta enjoy this. And I think that, we got guys that understand the abruptness of the end. I've used that term a lot. That you just go home. If you don't play well, and there's nothing to lose. So you need to go have fun. Yeah, and you gotta play hard. There's no pressure on us. I mean, and we just need to go. Let our hair down, so to speak, and go play like we're capable.
Coach, looking back to expectations early in the season, especially after those 2 big wins, Texas, and did you envision a little bit easier path to the second weekend, maybe a little bit higher seed for this team?
I told you there's going to be ups and downs. You guys never write about how young we are. You guys just assumed because we beat a couple of teams early that we were just going to roll. We're young. We're new. We got 9 new guys. One of the youngest teams in Power 5, and with that comes adversity and some speed bumps. And I don't take anything for granted. Getting into this, I've been a 14 and beat a 3. I've been a 12 and beat a 5. I've been a 1 and lost to an 8 or 9. The tournament is what it is, and there's no easy path to anything. And to 16s beat a 1. So if you think there's an easy path to anything, that's foolish thinking. Somebody doesn't know that there's a lot of really good teams. The portal's created a lot of that, but I didn't think anything was going to be easy with 9 new guys. So we're just going to let our hair down and go.
I mean, is that approach, have fun, let your hair down, and go, is that easier said than done, though, when it is the NCAA tournament, and there's one game maybe guaranteed?
How else would you want to do it? These guys, we got some guys who know. I mean, what do you want them to do? Play petrified and scared and say that's the way we're going to go in? No, we're going to go in and have fun and enjoy the moment. We're in the NCAA tournament, and we're a very good basketball team, and we've proven we can beat anybody. So let's bank on that, and let's go show up.
How does Coleman, Terrence, and Matt's experience, how does that help your young team?
Yeah, I think there's already been today at practice there was a lot of conversation about it. And just how from the police escorts to the the extra media attention to everything that goes on with it, and yet you got to you still got to find your piece and go play. And those guys were talking about that, and I thought Coleman stated it well. It's just let's not forget the details, but let's go have fun and enjoy the moment.
When you have so much newness and youth this year, I mean, does that change your approach versus the last couple years when you've had guys who've just been around and through it before, if that makes sense?
Yeah, but it was different. The first year we were, minus the COVID year, the first year we had nobody who understood what it was like when it ended. Tyler was the only guy in that locker room that understood, what happens when you don't play well. And that's not taking anything away from that team, but yeah, I think with experience comes a better understanding, and we've got some guys that have figured out second weekends and third weekends, and we've got some guys that have felt what it's like to lose, because it's hard in that locker room when you lose.
You mentioned expecting some of those bumps in the road. Has always just been about getting through those, getting to this day, and having the chance to write your story once you're here?
Yeah, when you don't win the Big Ten title, what are teams remembered of? Does anybody talk about North Carolina's season last year? Until what? They played in the championship game as an 8 seed. So I think that's what the NCAA affords you is that opportunity. We didn't win a Big Ten championship, and so it's a season of growth. It's a season of opportunity. It's a season of speed bumps. It's good things, bad things, and yet there was a lot more good because we're in this thing again, and we get to go. We get to go play another game to show everybody what we're capable of and what we can be, and if we do that, we get to play another one. And it's just, I think it was. Like I said, I'm really, really proud and happy for this group.
Coach, besides the win or go home aspect to it, what's different about postseason basketball, and what do you think translates to that for your team?
I think there's just so much more media attention to it. That's the obvious. I think that the game itself, probably slows down a little bit. It's really, really nice to not see conference opponents. So there's a freshness to, I'm pretty excited to go watch them on tape. Just, and I'm not watching, Penn State or Purdue or Indiana or somebody else. You're excited to go do that and see what they're doing and what they're about. And we get so familiar with everything in this league. So that part's different. And, you got to be dialed in the scouting report. And like Coleman has said many times, it's a lot of times about the details. And that's, you get a lot of very close games and you get a lot of crazy things happen in the NCAA tournament, and you got to be prepared for all of them.
Before you guys left for Chicago, it was Coleman and Terrence that we got, in Ubben, and they both said we haven't played our best 40-minute game yet. Is there something exciting or liberating about the idea of you see them every day that they haven't really played to their full potential yet?
Yeah, and we've played in great spurts, and we've had that spurtability, I guess. But I think the one thing that we've had challenges with is just not having everybody. I mean, bringing Luke back, losing Terrence, losing Jaden, just finding a uniform group and substitution pattern. Yeah, we did it last year. I mean, but we also had a really old group who guys were mature enough to handle those things. So that excites me. I think that's been a little bit of the challenge with this season is just getting everybody dialed in and finding out what their roles are and how they're going to be how they're going to play that way. And so it's changed throughout, but I do think our best basketball is in front of us.
Brett, I want to ask you, because you took over a challenge when you got here, but I know you got your own season going on, but what have you made of what Shauna has done this year, and as they hope to celebrate a bid too?
How long has it been? It's incredible. That's incredible. And the portal affords you that luxury to get healthy and right, maybe in a much quicker way than you used to, but to put that group together and to watch your coach and understand that there's toughness, there's grit, there's meaning to what they're doing, and to withstand an injury here late, that is quite a feat. There's 20 years of not great basketball, and she's proven, and I think that it's been a tribute to Josh. I mean, we've got great facilities. Others are winning and have won, and Brett and in our program, and I think that becomes contagious. So elated for them, and they're well on their way to continued success. This isn't a one-time deal. This is continued success.
Brett, just a calendar question, if I could. The portal window, I guess, opens tomorrow. What do you think of the timeline of that as teams are preparing for the tournament? And then how do you guys just logistically go about approaching that?
We haven't even talked about it. The timing makes no sense, but it's, I'm sure there'll be some kid out there that'll put his name in the portal, and his team's probably playing. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the portal, but it is what it is. So I haven't given it 2 seconds of thought, to be honest.
Brad, you guys have shown ability to make threes at times. How much confidence do you have in your team making threes in the tournament, especially if you got hot? Do you feel like that could be the difference for your team?
Yeah, it's how we beat Texas. We've made when we've made shots, we've been really good. And when we take good shots, good threes, we have a tendency to make them. And yet I think we also have something very unique. We have 2 great isolation 3-point players, 3-point shooters, and Matt and TJ both can get a shot anytime they want from 3. They don't need much help. And so, they get going. There's not many people that have those guys, but again, we can't take isolation threes all night. We've got to take good threes, and when we get good threes, we got the ability to make them.
I guess this qualifies as a follow-up to that. How much maybe more are you going to need Matt, in this stretch? Sure.
Matt's an all-league player. Matt's one of the most talented guys in the country, and Matt's had 25 in a game in the NCAA tournament. He's definitely a guy that we need. He's a big cog to everything that we're trying to do. And you don't go into the NCAA tournament and have your best players not play well. We had that in the Loyola game, and if your best players don't play well, you usually go home. So we definitely need him to be good.
Coach, there's always been kind of a narrative that the style of play in the Big Ten and the way games are called may not always translate to the NCAA tournament. Is there anything to that? Is there adjustment that you have to go through playing an SEC team?
Sure. There's no doubt there's an adjustment. I mean, you can go you can go watch the Big 12 championship game yesterday and there wasn't a post player. There was no post player. There's nobody over. I mean, Kansas had 3 6-foot guys out there, and they're 6'1", 6'2" little guards, and then Jalen Wilson at the 5. That's very, very different. That's very more similar to Penn State, and which is very rare in our league. The officiating is what it is. We're going to see guys that more than likely we haven't seen in a Big Ten game. But you have to adjust on the fly, and been around long enough that I've gotten to know most of these officials anyway and how they call games. So we'll be able to handle that.
Jim, in the way back.
Coach, do you have a relationship experience with Musselman, and how about with Des Moines?
I know Muss. I don't know him extremely well. I know he's got a lot of ties to Coach Kruger, where he worked for Coach, and I knew his father. And obviously it's a coaching family. It's Muss has got a lot of NBA background, but has done an outstanding job there. I've haven't spent a ton of time with him personally, but no, he's one heck of a coach, and what he's done at Arkansas has been very good. And in reference to Des Moines, it's awesome. I mean, it's a great basketball town, and spent a good amount of time there back in my Western Illinois days, going to state tournaments there. So it's and I'm sure with Arkansas, I don't even know who's all there. Us, Kansas. I'm sure it's going to be well inundated with fans. So, be a great place to be, and it's close. And I'm excited for our fans, because our fans can get there in 5 hours or so, and should be a great region.
Brad, it seems like analytically Arkansas hits a lot of twos, and I know you guys make tough twos, but what's the adjustment defensively? And obviously on a one and done, you're going home if you lose. If a team's making twos.
Yeah, and I haven't studied them. I'll be honest. You're asking me a question. It's a little bit. I think I saw them play once real early in the year, and so I don't mean to dodge your question. That's not what I do, but I sure don't know much about them.
Philosophically, if a team's making twos.
Yeah, and I mean, it's I don't know their rates. I don't know where they're getting their shots, whether they're post ups or whether they're mid range. We try to make them shoot hard twos. That's been what we've done. So, but we'll have to we'll dive into that here tonight and have a game plan ready for practice in the morning.
Anything else for Coach? All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.